The entire city of York has been basking in the glory of last night's famous Coca-Cola Cup win over the not-so-mighty Manchester United. The victory meant that the players' feet was transplanted from the back to the front pages. And just what have they done? Well, they beat Manchester United 4-3 on aggregate. Locals are thrilled by the giant-killing act and are upholding the tradition of literally shouting it from the rooftops, as Karen Thomas reports.
Oh, yay! Oh, yay! It may have been 3-1, but the Minstermen march on. Congratulations to York City. God save the Queen!
The official score in York's own inimitable style. Local people have been delighted with the news.
It was a wonderful result. Fantastic, really grand.
Deserve it. Especially the young goalkeeper. I think he did a brilliant job.
Got to beat Man U, haven't you? Beat Cantona and that.
Well, it's great because we're obviously on the back of every paper. And, well, I wasn't quite proud to come from York today.
It was all quiet at Bootham Crescent today, the scene of City's victory. York fans seemed to be a shy retiring lot, or were they recovering from the excesses of last night?
That's the way it is here. It's a nice, tidy place, and as I say, the supporters aren't particularly passionate about the football. They love the team and they love the football, don't get me wrong, but they're not really excitable, you know, and it's back to the norm now, isn't it? You know, everyone's gone doing the business, the club just operates normally, and we're going down to business again.
But the occasions prompted a shock confession from the Archdeacon of York. His grandfather once played for the team, which became Man United.
I never supported Manchester United. You couldn't really in Bury because you'd read the Manchester Evening News, and however badly they played, Alf Clark, who was then the reporter, used to say, well, of course, they should have won, really.
So, for a quote on United's performance, we turned to one of York's most famous landmarks. But the only Red Devil left in the city wouldn't comment.
It was one of the biggest nights in the history of York City. Already 3 goals to the good against the mighty Manchester United. 9,500 fans packed Bootham Crescent to see if the local heroes could make it through to round 3 against Cantona and Co. City boss Alan Little needed all his managerial experience to help his troops hold on to their first leg lead, especially when youngster Paul Scholes put the Premiership giants in front after just 7 minutes. His goal made it 3-1 on aggregate. 5 minutes later, the gap was closed even further. John Helm is the commentator.
Scholes has angled another ball in here for Andy Cole to chase. And he might have to hold it up until 1 or 2 arrive in the middle. And they are arriving, and here's a second goal, surely. And it is scored for Manchester United. And they are right back in this tie now, thanks to Terry Cooke and his first goal for the club. So it's still an intriguing contest at 3-2 overall in York's favour. There's good ball winning. Sets Jordan on his way. Nicely slipped out here for Barnes, who's got the confidence to take them on. And Paul Barnes still has a chance, and it's there! York City score! And what a moment! I think Scott Jordan's going to claim it. He hasn't got one this season. It's a great goal to get for your first, isn't it? Paul Barnes was having a little dig at it, but I think it's the right boot of Jordan that dispatches it.
2-1 down on the night. York was still 4-2 ahead over the 2 legs. When Scholes scored his second, though, on 79 minutes, it set up a gripping finale. One more goal would take the match into extra time. Everyone was on their feet for the dying seconds.
So close to going out of the Coca-Cola Cup, and that is it! Famous, famous night indeed for York City. Of the second division, they have knocked Manchester United out of the Coca-Cola Cup. Applause for Alan Little and for the York City heroes.
Well, he's with us now, the hero of the night, Scott Jordan, the man who put York through to the next round of the Coca-Cola Cup. Now, first and foremost, Scott, let's just clear up that goal. I mean, what exactly happened? Because it looked as if you and Paul Barnes kicked the ball at the same time. Can you talk us through it?
Well, I played the ball through to Paul Barnes at the start, and he beat the defender and had a shot, and it got blocked, and we're both just there in the box, and it fell in between us both, and we both got a contact on the ball. Now I still couldn't tell you who scored the goal, to be honest.
How many times have you seen it through?
I've seen it quite a few. I watched it last night on the telly. It's been on telly today, and I still couldn't tell you, to be honest with you.
But he's already scored 2 against Man United, so you can claim this one as yours, can't you, really?
I wouldn't mind, yeah. First goal of the season against Man United, it's a special one, really.
I bet it is. Now, at one stage, you were 2-0 down last night. Did you think at that point that York would ever be able to pull it off?
Well, I thought they could easily get some more goals from the 2 that they had, but I think once we started playing our own game and settled down a bit, and once we got the breakthrough, we got the goal, I think we started playing a bit better.
Now, did you have enough energy left to celebrate after all that?
Well, I was quite tight, to be honest with you, but we had a few drinks after the game in the club. But it was just nice for the fans to celebrate the win, to be honest.
Well, how do you feel today, seeing York City splashed over the back of all the newspapers?
Well, it's totally different. Since I've been in the club, I don't think we've been in any national newspapers, but a couple of weeks ago when we beat Man United at Old Trafford, we were in every national newspaper, and it's been like that today as well, so it's a nice change, really.
I bet it is. Now, the manager fancies Newcastle or Aston Villa, the team that his brother manages, in the next round. But what about you? You're a Geordie lad. Who do you fancy?
Definitely Newcastle. Family and friends up there, and be a lot of interest, I think, so definitely Newcastle I would like to play.
Do you think you could beat them?
I don't see why not. We've done Man United, so let's just hope we can do it.
Anything's possible, eh?
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Scott, very much indeed for joining us.
Thank you.
You'd have been forgiven for thinking the famous York Minster bells were ringing out to herald a famous football victory. A mile away at Bootham Crescent, 2nd Division York City had just achieved the result they'd hardly dared hope for. They may have lost 3-1 on the night, but their win at Old Trafford 2 weeks ago was enough to see them topple £17 million worth of Manchester United stars. For the fans, it was a night they'll never forget.
Well, they played the hearts out. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Best night of my life, by a long way.
They deserved it because they didn't go out to defend the convincing lead that they already had.
The game had been a sellout even before the first leg, and those not able to get a ticket still wanted some involvement. Any vantage point which gave even the slightest glimpse of the pitch was occupied. And those who couldn't get in listened anxiously in pubs and clubs as the drama unfolded on the radio. The 9,500 inside the ground saw Manchester United stun York with a 7th-minute goal from Paul Scholes, and then a second, inside quarter of an hour, from Terry Cooke. All of a sudden, York's 3-0 first leg lead was looking flimsy. But just before half-time, Scott Jordan got a foot to the ball to score what turned out to be the decisive goal. Even though Scholes got his second 10 minutes from time, York held on for an historic victory.
We worked really hard and they didn't half scrap. I mean, we're 2-0 down, and to be fair, a lot of sides would have crumbled. But we dug in and we battled on, we got a 1, and really the goal turned the game for us, and I think they sagged off a touch and possibly didn't quite believe in themselves.
Well, you got the goal, probably the most important of your career so far.
It was definitely, well, it's only my 4th goal for the first team, so definitely the most important, and it got us through in the end.
Who do you fancy?
I've just said I'd like Newcastle, but I wouldn't mind Aston Villa neither. I'm greedy, aren't I?
Manchester United stole away quietly at the end, with a long journey home in which to contemplate their 2nd cup exit in the space of a week.
Oh yay! Oh yay! Oh yay!
York in red began with the jitters, a nervy, twitchy start against the multi-millionaires. Dramatic early action for Andy Warrington, the young goalkeeper replacing the injured Dean Kiely. Warrington watched anxiously from the stand by his mum in the glasses and his dad. And within 13 minutes, the glamour team had scored twice, cutting York's precious lead from Old Trafford to a single goal. Agony for Dad. York struck back, almost.
Swing the ball in, here comes Paul Barnes. Oh!
More agony for the sellout crowd of 9,000. Relief wasn't far away.
Take them on, and Paul Barnes still has a chance, and it's there! York City score!
Leaving the goalkeeper's dad happier at half-time.
We spoke to him, what time, about 4 o'clock, and asked him if he were okay, and he said he was fine. But, you know, there's another 10 out there, and every one of them's really playing their heart out.
And they carried on doing it. United got one more, but only one, and young Warrington stood his ground. The final whistle brought victory and worldwide headlines for York.
Oh, it's brilliant. Obviously, we conceded too early on, which made it difficult, but we fought back brilliant, got ourselves back in it, and we've ran our hearts out. The crowd have been brilliant, you can hear them.
We had a bad start, and we stuck together in the end, and we come through great.
And how were you feeling after 15 minutes?
Oh, I thought floodgates are open. I thought that's how it's going to be, but the lads have stuck to the job.
Let's not forget Dean Kiely, you had to watch. What was it like?
I was more nervous sitting and watching, really, but just delighted for the lads. Fantastic. I mean, I've discharged myself from hospital. I've got to go back at 10 o'clock, so get me face done, but fantastic for the lads. Brilliant.
Here we go, here we go, here we go. Here we go, here we go, here we go.
It's a lifetime's ambition for a club in our league to be doing what we've done to Manchester United, and it's good for football.
It may have been 3-1, but the Minstermen march on.
It was one of the cup upsets of all time. A team costing £65,000 beating one that cost £16,635,000.
Oh, it's excellent. To do it twice, I was down at Old Trafford and I was nearly in tears, I tell you.
The celebrations went on into the night and the morning.
Onward and upward they will go. Where they'll end up, no one will know. God save the Queen.
And manager Alan Little joins me now from Bootham Crescent. Alan, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
How did you sleep last night?
Well, I had a short sleep, but quite a solid one, to be fair.
You said before the game that yourself and the players were getting extremely nervous. Obviously, as it went on, I think we were all getting more nervous. Did you really think, when you sort of lost that advantage, that you could do it?
Well, there was a spell, particularly after the first 20 minutes when we were 2 down, when, to be honest with you, I thought the floodgates were going to open. But fortunately for us, I think Manchester United just stepped off the gas a little bit, and we got that vital goal.
What about your family, though? Because you've got some Man U fans within the family. Are they disappointed or glad for Dad?
No, they're glad for me. They've enjoyed both legs. My daughter's enjoyed taking autographs last night, but I think they're pleased for me.
All right, then the next round, you say obviously that you want Villa. Have you spoken to Brian about that, the possibility of a family clash?
No, well, if it happened, we probably wouldn't talk to each other for a couple of weeks, but I mean, it would be a fascinating draw for both of us, you know. There's a nice tie-up, you know, both of us being managers. Aston Villa are a super club and a big club. It would be great for us to get them.
Well, we'll all know tomorrow morning, and you're going to have to do it all again.
Yeah, but it's nice, isn't it? I mean, it keeps everything alive. The media attention's fantastic, and, you know, we're really enjoying it.
All right, thanks a lot for talking to us, Alan, and well done again.
Cheers, thank you.
They were clearing up at Bootham Crescent today after York City's triumph over Manchester United. And it wasn't a pretty picture for the Premiership team as they failed to overhaul York's 3-goal lead from the first leg. City were worried when they conceded 2 early goals, Paul Scholes scoring after 7 minutes, quickly followed by an almost identical goal from Terry Cooke to make it 3-2 to York on aggregate. The crucial strike came 7 minutes before half-time. York's Scott Jordan reacting to a rebound to beat Peter Schmeichel. That made it 4-2 on aggregate. And York's nerves were jangling again when Scholes scored his second for Manchester United. The Minstermen survived a late goal-mouth scramble and went on to clinch a memorable triumph.
Here we go! Here we go! Here we go! Here we go! Here we go!
I think everyone was just relieved, you know, working hard for like 90 minutes, you know, in the last 15 minutes they put us under a lot of pressure and we were just relieved to hear the final whistle in the end.
York manager Alan Little was back at his desk today, planning for Saturday's game at home to Wrexham and preparing to bring his players down to earth.
As a York performance, it wasn't a great performance, and we made a lot of mistakes on the night. You know, so I have things to work on over the next couple of days, and hopefully that will make the players think, oh, you know, the manager's not happy maybe, and that's the little kick they need to get them going for Saturday, I hope.
Yeah.
Oh, did you get your tickets?
I was too late. Yeah.
Oh dear, that's a shame.
Yeah.
Videos of York's first leg triumph at Old Trafford have proved a bestseller, and fans are already clamouring for copies of last night's game.
That's lovely, that's £25.
I'm a bit ancient now, but no, but it was great. This was it, you know. And let's see next time as well.
Absolutely fantastic. It was unbelievable. It was the highlight of our life.
Pure excitement, wasn't it? It was just get Newcastle next round or someone.
The bookies are taking York more seriously now. Their cup odds have been slashed from 500 to 1 to 300 to 1.